Here we are coming to you on this Labor Day holiday for another edition of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast from the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast studio / illegal shift.
You.
Andrew.
Yo.
How was your holiday weekend so far?
It was wonderful. How was yours, Jason? I didn't ask. I'm sorry. We just got on the air and I rolled in a little late, unlike you last time, who was very late.
Yeah. It's always my fault.
It was nice. Drove back today, or yesterday, so I missed the traffic. And man, what a day here in the Natty! Just a beautiful day.
The most picture perfect weather.
And here I am sitting with you in a studio when I could be sitting outside watching the fireflies if there are any. But it was good.
Putting your feet up like this, taking a picture
right over
of a
left,
fire.
baby. Right over left. You got the left one on top. Right over left, always.
That's Andrew's moniker picture that he always takes.
It's my shtick. Shticky.
So
how was your weekend?
My weekend was good today. Shitty yesterday. I got
fall through another roof.
No, I got mandated for overtime yesterday. So I worked Friday and then missed the pool on Saturday.
Look at this. Look, I told my dad we're going live, right?
Your
so what's it? He's trying to FaceTime call me. No, Dad, can't talk to you now.
No, FaceTime.
No. We'll get shut down. Like, we'll be closed. Did you see, speaking of that.
Speaking of your dad shutting us down.
Well, no, speaking of things getting shut down and closed, did you see where there is a photograph? I'm going to show you this photograph. I think I sent it to you. We've been kind of all over the place today, so bear with us for just 1 second. If you guys have seen, there is a photograph. Have you seen that? So there's a photograph going around Facebook, okay? It says, "Dear," and it's a picture of an eagle with an American flag background. And it says, here's all it says, okay? "Dear God, I bow my head and ask, if it be thy will, please save this land from those who seek to destroy it. Amen." But what does Facebook do? They cover this. You have to click to see this photograph because this is hidden because it's supposedly promotes violence. That's social media. Congratulations.
That's the world that we are living in.
That is the world we're living in today. So, when you guys see stuff on social media and the news and the media, you might want to take a pound of salt with it because things are not as they always appear. Annoying. Yeah. So anyway, it is what it is. I wish sometimes that our media, my personal media expert, would chime in with some of his opinions on the fair and impartial media that he claims exists in this country. I personally know it does not. But whatever.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Whatever.
So I think the way we were going to start this out, which is just amazing to me, and the thumbnail showed it, is all of the rhetoric going around with Donald Trump showing up to Arlington National Cemetery.
He didn't show up. He was invited.
Well, I was getting there.
I know you were, but I mean,
by the request
with the wrong,
of the families.
Okay, you rounded into it. That's fine.
But you have the Harris camp saying that he is, he's promotionalizing,
he's
doing all of these things.
Sensationalizing. He's using the deaths of these people for political purposes. Blah 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 blah.
And when they asked him to bring his people, his production crew, for the event, So you have. So I'm going to share this article real quick, and then we got a video, which I'm sure most people have seen already.
Well, we want to make sure people are seeing these things in context.
Exactly.
Which is our job here, which is why we make the big bucks.
That's why we make all the big bucks.
All the big bucks.
But this article, says Gold Star families who lost their sons and daughters during the Biden-Harris administration's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021 released a joint statement and individual statements over the weekend slamming Vice President Kamala Harris over a political attack that she made against former President Donald Trump. Harris attacked Trump on Saturday for visiting Arlington National Cemetery. Visiting, by the way.
Yeah.
To pay his respects to the 13 U.S. service members who died during the withdrawal.
Horrible withdrawal. That if you saw it on TV live while it was occurring, you will never, ever, ever forget the photographs of those people, you know, I mean, I've had some bad flights, but I've never tried to hang on the wheel of a plane
Exactly.
or the outside of a plane while it's taking off out of absolute terror that you're about to be killed by the animals at the gates. But and that was Joe Biden, and I believe Kamala Harris was the last person in the room when they made that decision. That was her. That's what she said. However,
that's her big moniker, was she was the last one in the room.
She was the last one. Don't get me. She's, you know, it's amazing I don't have Tourette's when you're doing these shows, because sometimes I really want to scream.
I think you should.
Expletives, but I'm going to refrain, because the video that you have from Next explaining the families, you know, the people that have the only standing to be offended and complain are whom? The families of the 13 people that
correct,
that were there, or that died. Not Kamala Harris, not Tim Walz, not the Democrat machine, not the liberal media, not Democrats that are just look at everything through political lenses only, and then everything Donald Trump Orange Man does is bad and Kamala is great. But go ahead and let's roll into the video of the family's reaction to the criticism of Donald Trump.
Yeah, it just absolutely appalls me.
And sometimes Jason has trouble finding the right video, but I think he's got it.
Videos are videos and articles are articles. You don't know these things.
I don't do this.
Kamala, your statement
just push the
is
buttons.
Nothing more than a political spin to help you look better in your presidential campaign against Donald Trump. You have never walked a single day in our shoes. Our kids were murdered because of your administration.
Vice President Harris, my name is Steve Nakui. I'm the father of Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui. And your administration killed my son.
This message is intended for Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm not a person who usually takes to social media, but earlier today, your post regarding the incident at Arlington National Cemetery was brought to my attention. After reading it, it caused a reaction with me. You indicated in your post that you support the military and military families. I, for one, have not seen that support. It's been 3 years since my son was killed in action, and myself, my family, and other Gold Star families have not seen any support from you or your administration.
Vice President Harris, my name is Christy Shamblin. My daughter-in-law, Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., was killed in the Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate on August 26, 2021. This year, for the 3rd year anniversary of her murder, we welcome President Donald J. Trump to Arlington to lay a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier with our family and to visit Nicole graveside. President Trump and his team were respectful. They listened to our stories and didn't talk much at all. We welcomed them that day, and they were comfort to our family. Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success?
Vice President Harris, my name is Jim McCollum. I am the Gold Star father of United States Marine Corps Lance Corporal Riley McCollum, killed in Afghanistan, August 26, 2021. Your recent remarks related to Trump's visit to Arlington are filled with nothing but lies and deceit.
This is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Here we are on a beautiful holiday weekend day. I got to stop what I'm doing, spending time with what's left of my family, to address a heinous, vile, and disgusting post put out by Kamala Harris.
Kamala, I want you to understand, and I know it will be difficult for you because you lack empathy and basic understanding. The events that happened on August 26, 2024, with President Trump at Arlington National Cemetery were solemn and in keeping with the reverence and respect that is given to all members of our military that are buried there. We invited President Trump. We are the ones that asked for the video and the pictures to be taken. at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
When President Trump went and paid tribute and paid his respect in Arlington for our kids, it was not just the ones buried in there. It was for all of our kids. And it was an invitation that the families actually extend to him. And it's not the first time that he actually like meet with us and share time and with our families.
And you are partly to blame for that as well. What happened at Arlington was President Trump was invited by those families who have their soldiers buried at Arlington. They were invited there as a friend, as somebody who has taken the time numerous times on numerous occasions to hear our stories, to speak our kids' names, and to help us get some accountability from your administration, because in over 3 years, we have gotten nothing but more and more lies. Just like your statement, more and more spun lies and cover-ups to make you and your administration look good. But there is one thing that you said in your statement that was true. No one should be running for president if they cannot honor military members, their families, as well as veterans. So I guess that means that you should step down, Kamala.
Wow.
That's
those are the families.
That's pretty fucking strong right there.
That elicits a lot of emotion. And look, that's not our words. That's not our opinions. That's not
yeah.
You know, this is the families responding to Kamala and her bullshit. And the way they politicize absolutely everything on the Democrat side. And, you know, I think folks are just pretty much getting tired of it. I think we've been getting tired of it, but I think it's starting to reach a critical mass and people are like, you know what, I've had it with this crap. And we're going to take action. We're going to vote accordingly. Action is, you know, voting, and action is getting involved, and action is recruiting people to help spread the message, whether it be walking a neighborhood, whether it be knocking on doors, whether it be making phone calls. I did share the last show. There's a program here called TrumpForce47.com, and you can, you know, you sign up. And you can do as much or as little as you are able to do. You know, if you're only able to sit on the couch, but you have a cell phone or a home phone, they will set you up to make phone calls to the targeted people to make sure that get out and vote. I mean, you know, you see this stuff. The guy can't. I mean, they just make it. I love the narrative of the left. Whatever he does is wrong, right? Whatever he does is wrong. He takes a left. Oh, you should take a right. Take a right. Oh, you should have gone to the left. Oh, why did you do that? Blah, 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 blah. It's annoying. It's just so annoying. And
what's perfect, right? Yeah, with what you're saying, with everything he does, what was perfect with that video is he didn't have to do shit but show up to the invite,
right?
You know, be there,
right?
Greet the families, hang out. I had a couple other videos that I did not get up, you know, on here, and I'm pissed off because they're jumping onto his campaign trail now. People that weren't Trump supporters, but the fact that he was there supporting all of those families, they're like, you know what? I've kind of made a turn. But when they go out, Kamala, and I say they, Kamala and Walz at this point.
That guy Walz, I mean, we're going to get to him. Don't worry, Tim. We're going to tampon Tim. We're going to get to you in a second, buddy. You just stay patient, because that dude's got some freaking issues. You want to talk about loony.
But to have
Looney,
people
that's a
like
local name,
literally
Looney.
change their views,
yeah,
and the guy's doing the fucking right thing.
Well,
and what
to
is
them,
she
there
doing?
is no right thing. What is she doing? She's campaigning. She's
talking shit for him going there.
She's going.
She wasn't invited. She wasn't even invited.
Actually, they've reached out. Actually, if you listen to the lady, they've reached out to the Harris-Biden administration.
Invited, but no response.
No response. They don't respond. So what are the people? You retract it. What are the people supposed to do? You know, if they get, if they're asking for a response, and if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but you had to bear with me. When those troops were brought home, Was that not the video of him looking at his watch while
Yep.
they were being unloaded from the plane?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it was.
That definitely was.
And it's funny how they do these things, and the press, they don't keep. If it was a Republican doing it or Donald Trump had done it, they would keep harping and harping and harping and picking at it. But we know how the game is played. That's why this election cycle, we have to win by such a margin that the results will not be questioned. The results will not end up in court. The results will not be, subject to a recount or any type of thing. We have to just put this thing away, like in sports analogy, we have to put this away quickly and early. So I'm encouraging everybody I know to get out. Voting starts. You just mentioned it before the show came on the air that Election Day is like 60 days away. Okay. And you can start voting here in Ohio in 30 days. So I encourage every Republican I know to go down and vote either absentee or go to the Board of Elections and vote early, lock your vote in. And, then on Election Day, you will then be free to help, hey, have a beer, to help work the polls and, volunteer to hand out sample ballots at your local polls, or maybe be an election judge inside the polls. We always need those. So, vote early. A lot of sometimes the Democrats say vote early and vote often, but, I don't want you to vote often. I just want you to vote once.
Vote once.
So,
make sure you're living.
Unless you're here illegally, then please don't vote. I really want folks to start getting involved. And, if you don't get involved, then you don't vote. Someone at the gym today said,
you went to the gym.
I'm swole. So anyway,
Jesus Christ.
Swole. Anyway,
do you eat a lot of salt? Just checking.
So anyway, I was saying something, but so rude.
Somebody at the gym.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Squirrel. It's like, whoa, where'd it go? So I was at the gym and someone said, hey, what do I say to a professional, very successful person that has told me, they don't like either candidate. They don't want to vote for either candidate. And I was like, I get that and I understand it to a very limited degree. And I think what you do, so I think it might be prudent to maybe share my very wise answer here. Here's the deal. You got two paths. Are you going to approach them with the financial or maybe, economical path, or do you go with more of the social path, right? So the way I told them to answer it was this way. I said, look, ask the person, they have kids. Yes, they have kids, grown kids and grandkids. I said, okay, economically, we are voting for in all essence, the United States, let's just say it's a corporation. We're voting for a new CEO, right? I don't want to date the CEO. I don't want to go out with the CEO. I don't want to swap spit with the CEO. I don't want to pleasure the CEO. I want to hire the person that's best to run the job, best to do the job of running this country. Now, based on past history and performance, Donald Trump is head and shoulders the clearest, best candidate to run this country.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you appeal to them economically. And also Kamala's plans, which we're not going to get into. This isn't a financial show, but there's been a lot of discussion about what little has been released by her administration and during her supposed interview with her pet support vice president, that there is the rumor mill is that she's considering, although it's been speculated it'll be unconstitutional, a 25% unrealized gains tax. Now, that in of itself is a whole show, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, unrealized gain, if you sit in your house for 30 years, you're going to have an unrealized gain because your house is worth a lot more than you paid for it. Here comes Kamala saying, give me 25% of what the gain was, the unrealized gain. You got to sell your house to pay it. I mean, it'd be horrible. It'd be absolutely wrecking. The other thing that I said to them, okay, so if you can't reach them economically, right? You can't say, okay, vote with your wallet. You could say, hey, how about voting with your heart or your social issues? And everyone, when you say social issues, sometimes people run to abortion, which I would not run to because abortion's settled law. I'm not going to dig that one up. That's a bad place to go for an election because it's just not a winning issue per se, because, you know, you have both sides and then probably the great middle that there's just a lot of area there that is not something that, and even Donald Trump's not going there. But if you have grandkids in the schools, and you say, okay, do you want, it was funny because I was listening and I'll segue back into it, but I was listening to something this weekend. I was driving and there was a lottery deal, lottery ad came on. It was like, hey, we've donated billions of dollars to schools. And it says, you can't win if you don't play. Please play responsibly. It must be 21 or older. And I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. I was like, just want to understand.
I had two things there.
You know where I'm going with this. So you got to be 21 years or older. That's very important to say that, to play the lottery. But if you're a 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old child and you want to change your sex, then by God, who are we to tell you what to do? But you can't buy a lottery ticket. Cut your wanker off. No problem. We're good with that. Just don't use it to scratch off the lottery ticket. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the logic there is so absurd. So, you know, I want to vote for a president that's going to protect girls' sports. I want to vote for a president that's going to have some common sense curbs on the radical left's push to sexualize our children. I want a president that's going to protect children, because I got to be honest with you. I don't think an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old child has the mental capacity to make decisions that will affect the rest of their lives by deciding what sex they are, because a mommy or daddy may have somehow suffered from Munchausen syndrome and is confusing them to the point where they don't know what the hell's going on.
No, you're fine. You can breathe. Hold on. You can't breathe for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, no, now you can breathe.
This is ridiculous.
No,
So
it is ridiculous.
And if you just take the attitude, it's a cop out to say, so my point in saying all that is, okay, well, I don't like Donald Trump because bleh. Okay, great. So you don't like Donald Trump. I'm not asking you to like Donald Trump, the man. I'm liking you to ask Donald Trump, the president. And I'm asking you to dislike, and you may not dislike Kamala, the person, but I'm asking you to dislike Kamala, the politician, because she's horribly bad.
Well, and again, what policies outside, and we're gonna hit something towards the end of this. One of the policies that she says she's going to adopt, but she is literally gonna. It's going to be a Biden presidency.
It's going to be part 2. And
yeah,
I mean, she
part
is
two. Let's make it. Let's church it up. Part 2.
You're so fancy. Pass the grape upon. But you know,
it's fucking ridiculous.
It's just something. I mean, it's just, you know, the Democrat Party is so, and I've said this, and I'm going to say this often. It's going to be a theme I have. Democrat Party is so devoid of any sort of morals or scruples or decency, because, you know, the same party that just a few months or weeks ago was telling us that Joe Biden is a great candidate. He's got all his same candidate running for president. You know, she assured us that everything was okay. It's all great. He's great. He's sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Then within a matter of days, after hours after his, you know, just horrible performance. Oh, he's terrible. We got to get rid of him. The guy's an idiot. Well, duh. He's been an idiot. So, you know, who to believe? And
I borderline feel bad for the guy now.
I don't. I did at one point.
I feel bad in the fact that the carpet was fucking raked underneath him.
Don't care.
And they threw her in.
Well,
and he's sitting there and he's vacationing and he's doing his thing. Like, and Jill literally,
God,
she
how
was
pissed
like,
is she? Jill Biden does not look.
No, I'm talking about my Jill upstairs.
Oh, Jill upstairs. I thought
she goes,
sorry.
That guy has the best job right now.
What's
he
that?
doesn't even have to do anything.
Well, he hasn't done anything
for the rest.
Right.
For the rest of the time, though.
Well, let's hope that he's in office the rest of the time and they don't do something else. I've heard a lot of speculation.
We had a really good conversation at the firehouse the other day, and
Is that why you were washing the truck?
No,
you were after washing the truck.
No, I don't wash the truck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't wash the truck.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll still go down.
It's going to rain tomorrow.
No, like we were having a serious conversation, and I don't bring the podcast up at the firehouse very often. Just I somewhat separate work from this.
Smart decision.
But some of the guys listen, and I was talking to my captain who, I mean, we align on a lot of things.
Gotcha.
And we were sitting there just having, and I know we have a lot of things to go over, but this is good banter.
No.
In the fact that
we don't have a time limit, do we?
We don't.
There you go.
So I was like, when Dan and Rob were on and we started this, I mean, we all lean the same way. And then Andrew comes on and we lean the same way. But I said, I don't care which way you lean.
I don't think I lean. I kind of, do I lean?
Well, you slouch, but you slouch.
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, politically, like, and I don't bring politics up at the firehouse either.
Yeah.
But my captain and I were sitting there talking. He was like, look, I don't like Trump as a person.
Right.
But I like Trump as a president.
Right. And they're two, and they can, and listen, how many times did you hear people? I mean, you know, and I may have mentioned this before. Everyone's like, oh, you know, that congressman or this senator, he stinks. He's terrible. And you're like, well, what about your kind? Well, he's not any good either, but he's a really nice guy. And I really like him. I'm like, why do we have this desire? Where does that spring from? We have some sort of desire that we should, you know what? I kind of don't want to like the guy in office because I want to be able to maybe hold him accountable.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he made a bad decision, but man, he makes a mean macaroni and cheese. I mean, what do I care? Seriously, what do I care? I don't want to be buddies with these people. And I mean, I actually, that's the attitude I had when I was in office. I was like, look, you may not like me, which is hard to believe, but like
easily to believe.
Well, like what I do. I'm not in this to make friends. I've got enough friends. And I think Donald Trump has exactly that attitude, maybe much to his, you know, dismay and to his against, for better or worse. He just doesn't care if you like him or not. But I think he's making the, you know, decisions. Now, let me be fair. He's made some announcements that I was like, okay, that's not, you know, it's not particularly a conservative principle that you're going with there. And I understand you might be trying to get elected, but let's tone down some of the, you know, let's remember that we are Republicans and let's try to be fiscally conservative with stuff. Let's not give away the house. I'm just the same local, you know, the same Democrat party that said he was a great guy and had his scruples. Then Nancy Pelosi went on news program, said that she won an open primary. Well, that's not true. There was no open primary. There was no such thing as an open primary. Right. And then, you know,
when they say a coronation.
Yeah,
it was a coronation.
It was. And then the same local party has given us, the same local party who's having events for Sherrod Brown here locally because he's such a great guy. And you see his commercials and like he's Mr. Conservative. Sherrod Brown, he's Mr. Conservative, right? Votes with Biden 99% of the time. They've also given us great judges like the judge downtown, Judge Silverstein, who's literally making horrible bond decisions and decisions that affect your lives every day because she's letting people out and giving low bonds to people. Just show up and, you know, the city is left safe. We had after the fireworks last night, there was a report of a shooting downtown. I mean, it's a scary world out there and elections have consequences, folks. And if you don't look at the candidates, and sometimes, you know, you might get a ballot from. Personally, I think the Republican judges that we have up for our this election are by far and away much more qualified and a superior slate of candidates. Not even to mention the prosecutor's office. You know, you might want to do your homework, and if you're on the Democrat side and you get a blue slate card, you might want to look at the judges because that's the ones that affect your life. And you made a mistake last time. And you voted out my friend Kurt Kissinger, who was a wonderful judge, and very law and order, and kept us safe, and replaced him with someone who is causing a lot of havoc in the courthouse. So you might want to reconsider your scruples there when you get those blue slate cards.
There's a huge debate right now, and I've seen a whole shit ton of Facebook stuff on the fire department side regarding. Obviously, we're part of a union, the IAFF, and unions are predominantly Democrat.
Yep.
And they support.
Well, they
Democrats.
used to be. I mean, yeah, more overwhelmingly so. Yes.
Most of them are.
Yes.
And I can't remember what was it, the auto workers or the Teamsters. Teamsters supported Trump. One of the biggest unions in the country.
Yeah, he spoke at the
yes,
their leader spoke.
So
and it was surreal, man. I got to be honest with you, it was pretty surreal seeing
watching. I watched it on
him
video
at the convention. It was surreal because I was like, "That's not," and that's the other thing. Let's talk about.
Hold on.
Sorry,
I'm not done yet.
I was on a roll.
Don't step on me, mother.
I'm sorry.
No, but we had a debate, not a debate, but a conversation, because the IFF supported fucking Harris,
right?
And there are a shit ton of firemen that are pissed off that the IFF, our big union, our national union, international union rather, supported them.
Right.
And I saw a whole bunch of banter between firemen across the country that I know, just blasting. And the greatest comment I saw was, you know what? I'm going November 5th and I'm voting. I don't support this, but I'm voting for the guy that I want.
Right.
Operative term, the guy that I want.
Well,
but the problem
there are some discussions about that, but I'm not going to go there.
The problem is with when you're part of a union, you get, so many delegates to vote. I mean, it's just like the government. You get so many delegates to go vote, and you have your districts and everything else. And so you had a whole bunch of infighting within the fire department world,
right,
of whether Harris should be supported or whether Trump should be supported.
Well,
go vote for who you want to vote for.
Right. No matter what, I mean, again, some of these, and to be fair, the auto workers, is it Sean Fain, I think is his name. He leads the UAW, I believe.
I believe that's his name.
And he's, a big Harris supporter. But, the rank and file is overwhelmingly, from what I've heard, for Trump. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have, just because your union boss says, hey, I'm supporting blah, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're in any way, shape, or form obligated to go support blah, because blah may not agree with your personal family principles. So I think you're going to have a lot of that going on. But I've totally forgotten what I was going to say because you rudely stopped me.
You stepped on me first, but
yeah, I know, but I was going with a roll there, but I can't remember what it was right now.
I know.
We'll get back to it.
Pappas doesn't speak for all of us.
Pappas does, because he's got the cool. He's got the really cool. Who did that?
But no, it was a good conversation. Like, and some of the younger people that we work with kind of got a little bit of an education.
Good,
right, wrong, or indifferent.
Good.
And we went to like the local, like, who, you're 18, you're voting. Who are you voting for school board?
Yeah.
Who are you voting for Senate, Congress? Do you even know?
Well, this time they don't have to know.
Right. They don't have to.
But there will be.
But those are
some
the things,
levies on the ballot. I hope they educate themselves about.
You have to educate yourself locally,
right,
and everything else goes up.
Right.
So
and, if you don't, in other words, like, so what you're saying is very akin to what I said, is that, don't rely on someone to tell you how to vote.
Exactly.
Figure it out. And if you don't, I mean, it's not hard today with the internet. You can do your own research, and please do your own research. And
be educated before you strike a fucking box.
That's right. Go in knowing who you're going to vote for and knowing the issues at hand. For example, there's an issue on the ballot about gerrymandering, and I'm a strong don't change the law here in Ohio. However, there's millions and millions of dollars flowing into the state because we have a 50+1 threshold, and they're going to create. It's another thing that when Democrats are in charge, it's okay, but when Republicans are in charge, it's really bad. So we're gonna fight over that.
You're
I don't even know what.
You're OCD.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But we're do your research and learn the issues, or else you're gonna you might get in. I can't tell you how many times someone came in. You know what I get the most of when I'm working the polls? You know what I really get a lot of? I get a lot of people that come out and they said, I'm glad you gave me this slate card, because I work my own poll, and there's a joke in there.
So many ways to go.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but
it's the best 2 seconds ever. And 2 inches.
That's what she said.
I was gonna fuck with you.
I know. But people come out and they say, look, I really appreciate the slate card, because the judges, when you go into these polling locations, the judges don't have an R or D next to their name. So the people appreciate the fact that although they didn't do the research and they didn't know who to vote for, they knew that my values, or the Republican Party values, which they hold dear and agree with, align with their values. And so they took my advice, or at least the party's recommendations, and they voted that way. But as I said, at least on our side, I think we do a very good job of vetting the candidates. I can't say the same is true, because if they were true, Judge Silverstein would never been a endorsed candidate on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
And it's played out pretty badly for your own safety in Hamilton County.
We're going to shift gears a little bit.
Well, what's the next topic du jour?
We're going to go into the Venezuelans, the Venezuelan gangs, which I think is
yeah. So this is.
Go ahead.
You going to pre-play me or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I've seen, if anyone's watching the news, you've seen actually in Denver and Aurora, there's been a lot of violence taking place in Colorado, and this one. This is going to be really interesting because I don't think we have the story. But play the story first, and we'll discuss the response to this.
Because these stupid people that we have leading our country are allowing these people, these criminals, to come into our country, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing.
Very, very quick clip.
Well, yeah, but that's a response to. So if you see on the left side, right? You can see in that story on the left side, that's a response to a Venezuelan gang. And what this is proof of what you've seen at the southern border. So what we've seen at the southern border, which is open because of Kamala Harris, what was she again?
Not the border czar.
It's not the border czar.
According to her.
I don't think they know what that word means. But so
it's not ZAR. It's CZAR.
CZAR. Yeah.
But she was like, Kazar. What is that? I don't want that. I don't want any part of that.
It's a brand of shoes. So the deal is that what you've seen at the border is you've seen a just vast amount of young men, military age and young men. And the reason for that is that especially Venezuela and these other countries in Central America and South America have been emptying their prisons. So what they're doing is they're shipping their criminals up here. And we've seen countless stories of crimes being committed by these people. This is not to say, again, do not twist the words here, Democrats. I don't want you getting all sassy about this. But
since he's not in,
since he 513 is not in,
I actually want to kind of throw a text message and just see where he's at, make sure he's okay.
I think my manliness has scared him away. He's probably trying to get a testosterone injection. But the deal is that we've seen countless military age and young men, and if these were really migrants, we'd see the full demographic of people coming up, women, children. Which there's another story about the children that have disappeared under this administration, which is going to lead into another story. But so in Aurora, Colorado, this Venezuelan gang literally took over the apartment complex. And there was another story in Denver today about a gang that was pretending to be I think they were Amazon. They pretended to be Amazon. They were breaking into an apartment complex as well. Not on that scale, but they had AR-15s. So, we've got a lot of problems here, and we're going to need a very strong president to take care of it. And clearly, Kamala is not up to the task. What are we rolling?
Video surfacing today showing a huge problem with what some are calling gang violence at an apartment complex in Aurora. The video shows men entering an apartment building with several weapons and then busting down a door.
And he got a guy in a cell phone.
The apartment, which had become
trying to figure out if he's ordering pizza or what.
Fox 31's Vicente Arenas was at that complex today as people were moving out, fearing for their safety.
Meet your next pillow.
Oh, no.
Oh, we got an ad.
No, we got an ad.
You sons of bitches.
Those bastards.
Vicente is joining us live from that complex with a closer look at that eye-opening video, Vicente.
It is eye-opening, Erica. It is significant because this is the first time we've actually seen what has been happening inside that apartment complex at different times. This video, there's 2 different clips you're about to see. One of them, people carrying guns, and another where 2 people are just trying to break down a door. The video shows a group of men walking up a stairwell at the edge of Lowry apartment complex in Aurora. All of them appear to be carrying rifles and handguns, and the video shot earlier this month. One of the men can be seen talking on a cell phone. They all then gather around a door and go in. Another video clip shows men forcing a door open, but what or who they were searching for, not clear. The video was shot in the building where Cindy and Edward Romero lived until today. They loaded up their stuff and moved out.
It's been a nightmare and I can't wait to get out of here.
This is how Cindy used to lock her front door.
Every day when we come home, we have to do this. Every time we go outside to take out the garbage, every time we try to go to bed at night, we have to keep it like this so nobody can kick in the door.
The couple's car and many others here were riddled with bullets after a shootout at the complex earlier this month. The Romeros say the trouble started when a large number of migrants began moving in. They had not been able to move out for different reasons.
We couldn't get any. We tried reaching out to the resources, but they told us since it wasn't actually a condemned building, we would have to wait until that was the issue, but we didn't want to wait for that. So the only help I got was after talking to you.
We showed council member Danielle Jurinsky the video. Today, she helped the couple move out and find a new place to live.
The city nonprofits have lined up to help the migrants that have come here, but nobody is helping the American citizens, the residents that are trapped in these apartment complexes.
The Romeros tell us others living here had been asking when they'd be moving out.
And this isn't just Americans. This is other Venezuelans that are living under this control, that are being extorted by the control of this gang.
While we were on the property today, even before we left, we were told other people were moving in and taking over the Romeros unit. We did speak to the mayor's office this afternoon. They sent us a statement saying that so far there are no code enforcement violations taking place at this complex. The mayor's office also responding in part for the Aurora Police Department. They're telling us that the police department here has seen that video that we just showed you. There is a lot more to this story. We'll be covering it in the days to come. Reporting live outside the municipal building in Aurora, Vicente Arenas, Fox 31.
Man, oh man, oh man.
I mean, how far? All right. First question.
What?
When you were an elected official, would you help people move out?
Yeah, actually, I'd be honest with you. If it was in part due, especially if it was in part due to some stupid legislation or policy that would have, sure I would. I helped.
Yes.
I helped a lady turn on her gas in the middle of winter here.
And I knew the answer to that question, but
I thought it was a trick question.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't trick you, buddy. But how fucked up? And I have a buddy that is a police officer in Denver who is dealing with the same shit. And Aurora is pretty close to Denver. And what the fuck? When you have to lock 4 different
that was
locks,
an impressive, I didn't want to tell her what she didn't realize is now the latch side's stronger than the hinge side. They're just going to bust the hinges in. What she needed was like a bar across the whole thing. But, if you have to do that,
that's sad.
That's America, man. I mean, that's in America because of, look, we have a problem and we have a big problem. And she mentioned it. The nonprofits, the NGOs are helping, non-governmental organizations are helping these migrants financially. And they are, and one of them, I mean, I'm not casting stones here, but one of the largest ones here in Cincinnati is Catholic Charities, and they're moving people. They're giving them resources. Look, this isn't saying that all migrants are bad, but if you don't, screen them, and countries are emptying their prisons, you're going to scoop up a lot of bad people in that net. And how sad is it that those people, had to reach out? They're like, well, there's no code violations. Oh, really? We need a code against bullets and break-ins and robbery. I'm sorry, he really didn't break the code there.
Well,
for them to get
question
out of
is,
it.
and we were muted, but my big question is the dude on the cell phone. Like, I was trying to figure out, like, once they broke in, was he ordering pizzas or what the fuck was he doing?
Is Uber tacos?
Yeah, Uber taco.
I want
DoorDashing.
I want 5 empanadas.
I was trying to figure out what the fuck that guy's. I mean, obviously,
They probably got the. You're probably, you want to get pissed. You're probably paying for that phone. You're probably paying. That's probably one of the phones he was issued at the border, so that he can be notified of his court date.
The other question is, who was in that apartment that they wanted to get into so bad?
I don't know, but hopefully the guy went out the window.
They're going after. I want to know why.
And let me tell you, here's the deal. So you're looking at an apartment complex that it seemed that, at least by looking at it and by the woman's comment, the councilwoman's comments, is that they were put up by some sort of charity, right? She said that, we have a lot of nonprofits helping these people. So some charity, and this isn't anti-charity by any stretch of the imagination. However, what I'd like to remind people is we have a lot of neighborhoods that surround, especially Anderson Township with Mount Washington being right there, that has some public housing. And it could be very easily that happens there. I'm not saying I know of a family.
Exactly where I work.
Well, I know of a family that at one time was in the drive-thru at the Wendy's in Mount Washington, and while they were placing their order, literally that apartment complex right there, SWAT raided it, and people with machine guns were running past their car, and they're like, she's just trying to get a Frosty, and so I just want people to be aware of, if it can happen there, don't think it can't happen here. And you have a Democrat governor there in Colorado who's saying, "Oh, these stories are fabricated." I don't know. That video didn't look too fabricated to me.
Sure looked legit.
And from what I hear, I don't know if this is true, but from what I've heard, there's a bunch of bikers going there to try to somehow enforce the peace or take over patrolling the. Sounds like a recipe for confrontation, if you ask me. But
ironically, one of our followers, Marines Blood, was talking to Will Cray. Said, "I heard the rumor. Problem is, all I've seen is just videos of bikers riding that you can't confirm who they are. I did hear they may have an HA meeting.
That would be Hell's Angels, and I don't know their reputation. I mean, I've never hung out with these guys, but I've been passed by several of them.
You'd be like Fletch. You'd be like Fletch hanging out with a bike gang.
Well, I'm not. Have you hung out with these guys?
Edward Harley. That would be you.
Have you? I mean, you're a biker-ish.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw you have assless chaps inside, but I mean, I think you rap.
All chaps are assless, but I don't wear underwear. It's fine.
But you're supposed to wear pants with them, aren't you?
No. If you're a real man.
Show's taking a remarkably twisted turn here.
Yes, which is why we love it.
But this is non-scripted, folks. This is off the cuff, live. Unlike Kamala's interview, this is actually live. So
it's not pre-taped.
It's not pre-taped, edited, squished, washed, and everything else.
You get what you get.
You get what you get. But no, I just think this is, we've created a situation, and I'm sure it'll be made that the Hells Angels or the bikers that show up are the bad guys. Okay. Well, I mean, if the police
take those bad guys because they're fucking Americans.
Well, they are, but it shouldn't come to that, man. We should have, local law enforcement should have the tools they need to enforce the law. And you know what? If you have to hold the organizations that are putting these people in these places accountable, then hold them accountable. I mean, I don't want to give them a pass just because they're a charity. You might want, as I said, you may want to somehow do a little more due diligence, and not simply when someone walks in your door with just their hand out, you just slap a cell phone, some money, and get them a place to live. And sadly, a lot of times, like in Minneapolis, what happens is the government relocates all of the people of the same culture into one area, and instead of assimilating into the fabric that made this country, they simply exist separately from this country, and then elect people like Talib or Omar or any of them. And we have a problem because those people do not have a, for example, one of them, the congresswoman, she took an oath to for Somalia instead of the United States. So, yeah, it's a problem. I guess what you're looking at, you know, you want things to be screwed up, put the government in charge, and they'll screw it up well. Right. Frustrating.
And you've got Colorado, who obviously accepted all of these people in.
Well, they declared themselves a sanctuary state, sanctuary cities, and that designation has implications.
Which our mayor did as well.
I was there,
but
not this one, the prior one.
Correct.
But a Democrat mayor with a Democrat council.
We're a sanctuary city, so it could come here.
It could come here, and people are like, well,
luckily, we're tucked a little bit further Midwest.
Ohio,
but it's still here.
Well, in Cincinnati, it's like what, 12 years behind, I think. So look out, in 12 years, it's going to happen here. But no, but people say, well,
Mark Twain,
right? People don't. What's he talking about?
It's a Mark Twain quote.
Here's the deal. People say, what are sanctuary cities? Well, that means is there's no cooperation between local law enforcement and Immigration Nationalization Service. So if they pick up someone that's an undocumented illegal alien, the police will just simply release him on either a low bond or no bond and say, show up for your court date because you broke this law. But if it was not a sanctuary city, what the police would say is, okay, this guy's undocumented. Let's call ICE up and have him come pick him up because he's probably not going to show up for his court date, and we can start deportation hearings on the guy. That's what it means. So they build this wall between these governmental agencies. We're paying for ICE to deport illegal aliens, but then we're not allowing ICE to communicate or law enforcement,
which is exactly what happened in fucking Georgia when that girl got murdered.
Oh, it's happened. It's happened
multiple other times, but that was I'm gonna mispronounce the name, so I'm not even gonna say it. But the girl in Georgia,
was it Lake and Riley?
Lake and Riley.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to mispronounce it.
And so I didn't know which one you're talking about, but I know of her, and there's been sadly
he was supposed to be
deported and wasn't, or had been deported and come back in under this. Yeah, right. And this has happened time and time and time again. I think your average American who is very much, look, we all come from immigrants in some way, shape, or form. Some of our families have been here a long time, some of our families not as long. We are not anti-immigrant, but we are pro immigrate correctly and be vetted and have a process. And you know what? I'm not pro. I don't think the Statue of Liberty said, send us your criminals. It did not say that on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. So I'm not going to decrease. I'm not going to make Venezuela a safer place at the cost of making the United States a much more dangerous place, that they're coming in, robbing, stealing, and killing our citizens. And I think this is going to be a very, very key and important process and part of this election, and a subject that people are going to vote on. And that's another thing that I would encourage the person that asked me, what do I tell someone to vote? You know, do you want to vote for someone that wants to keep your family safe? Or do you want to vote for the person that caused this whole situation to happen in the first place, regardless of what they say, regardless of her claim of not being the border czar?
Correct.
Annoying.
We've got a couple different avenues we can go down, and I want to figure out which one you want to. Like,
no, you roll. I'll just fly,
because we're getting close to time.
No, we're not. You'll be here all night. It'll be a 24-hour show.
Oh, that would be awesome. We should do a marathon show and see just how many people stay.
People can watch me sleep. You know how I get.
I know that
we're about 30 minutes out from bedtime.
I'm trying to be cognizant of your
I appreciate
bedtime.
That.
Let's hit on the fact that Hamas shot 6 hostages in the head in the last 14
This is a
hours.
terrible story, and I hope we have the video clip. So share this story is up on.
Have the video clip?
I think I sent it to you. So whether you have the video clip of
video clip,
I think we have the video clip, don't we? Of Tim Walz at the fair.
Oh, I have that video.
Yeah,
clip,
that's the video clip. So we're talking here about who to vote for president. And I remember you talking about the video of Kamala saying she studied the map not to go into Rafah. So Kamala, very, 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 very astute world political expert that she is, that got her start. How did she get her start again?
Willie Brown,
the original Hawk Taw girl. So,
nicely played.
Thank you.
Fucking pop culture.
She
right
started sharing her expertise on the Middle East because she's such an expert. And what happened is that from what the reports are, these Hamas actually shot these hostages. One of them, which was an American, I think just one was American.
one was American.
One was an American citizen. They shot him 48 hours before they were rescued to keep them from being rescued. And I believe I've heard reports that the American had they seen evidence that he was tortured in some way, shape, or form before they shot him. And they were all shot in the head, executed. And yet we're I'm not saying this is a simple issue. It's not. It's a very complicated issue. However, I wonder what the world reaction would be. Reverse the roles, and the Israelis had shot in the head 6 Hamas hostages that it was holding, just to keep them from being freed. It's a horrible story. It makes me sick. It deserves the comment from the very people that are running for office to rectify this situation. Yet what we get from the Biden-Harris, or I'm sorry, it was Biden-Harris, the Harris-Walz campaign ticket, Tim Walz was asked, and we'll share video. So Jason's sharing the story right now. It's up on the screen. You can Google it and read about it. But there's also a video. So they asked Tim Walz. He was at a fair. I think it might have been in his home state. I'm not sure where the fair was. And this guy's, I mean, there's so much wrong with this guy. We share the video of him literally yanking his child's arm off on stage at the DNC, and the comments that the behavior psychologist had about it. But here he is at a fair, and they ask him about, you just had the breaking news that an American hostage was murdered by Hamas, and here's his response.
Thanks, everybody.
The thing that gets me about that,
a fucking tool,
is he's a fucking tool. But all the fucking cheering, granted, they didn't know what the question.
Getting breaking news. I'm getting breaking news that Hamas just released a video of the hostages being shot. That whole thing could take a very
fucking neat.
Well, it's a good thing Joe Biden's still asleep on the beach, right? Came back from California sleeping. I guess the beach in Delaware is more comfortable than the beach in California, so he had to sleep there. Joe Biden, even Joe Biden's reaction to that, he issued some stupid statement when asked by the press. He said, well, I'm talking to them on the phone and we're working on this to get this. I think he was saying to get them released. He didn't even seem to understand they had been shot, that they were dead. So I don't know what the hell he was talking about. We just have a really big problem. This is, again, what you'll be voting on this November. And Tim Walz, coward, walked away. Instead of having a statement, it's not hard to make a statement. I condemn this. I think it's terrible. I think we need to, have all sides, whatever. I mean, there's a very easy political statement to make there. But what does he do? He raises his stupid hands and thanks everybody and walks away. And look, Tim Walz lied several times. It's been proven, documented that he's lied. He lied about his rank when he left the military, and has been roundly criticized for the way he left the military. As soon as he found out his unit was going to be called up, he bailed. Which
the amount of podcasts I've heard of guys that served with him.
Oh, staggering. Staggering.
They're like, fuck that guy. He's
right.
a lying piece of shit.
Now, not only that, we all have family dynamics, right? So if you have, I mean, any family has a dynamic as long as you have a brother or sister. So you have that sibling dynamic. God knows we all have them. Some are better than others. But Tim Walz's very brother is now coming out and saying, this is not the guy that you want to be making decisions. And he is now actively, I don't know how actively, but he's come out and he's endorsed President Trump. This is his family, his brother. They haven't spoken in 8 years. So why should I, who don't know anything about the guy. And honestly, 99.99% of the public out there, and especially Democrats, don't know one thing about Tim Walz. Seriously, you just don't. I think his brother knows him better than you do. And his brother isn't even voting for him. Just take that to heart. When you're going in and you're kind of hemming and hawing, I just don't know. Gee, I don't know who to vote for. That guy's own brother won't vote for him. If you can't get I'll put it to you this way. If you can't convince your family to support you for your campaign, you might have a problem.
Now, I'm going to throw a caveat into that.
What's the caveat?
His brother also said that they hadn't spoken in 8 years.
Yeah, so
was the article.
So it was a tool 8 years ago.
So it was, a little whatever happened. There may have been an issue. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been a jerk for over 8 years.
But when we're saying that, you also have RFK Jr.
Yeah,
who's a lot of his family is not supporting him.
Well, a lot.
So I'm playing devil's advocate.
Well, okay, the devil's advocate here is this. So Tim
trying
Walz,
to be fair, and
okay.
that way we don't.
Well, here, let me
anybody off.
Who cares? Here's
I do.
Well, okay, Mr. Peacemaker.
I think it's fun.
Let me explain something to you. The difference here is that Tim Walz's brother for 8 years has thought he's an asshole and hasn't spoken to him in 8 years.
I concur.
RFK Jr.'s family is upset with his latest, has been speaking to him. As a matter of fact, according to RFK, they have at gatherings, they have, very spirited discussions, and they like those discussions and they disagree. They have been speaking to him, and they're not saying, I'm not speaking to him now. I just disagree with what he's doing. So it's not apples and apples. It's apples and oranges. It's like, there must have been something fundamentally done that Tim Walz did to his brother. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I'd like for his brother to be more specific and share with us why he thinks his brother's an asshole and shouldn't be in a position to make decisions. But, at the end of the day, I'll take him for his word. His brother's an asshole, and I wouldn't vote for him. And I haven't spoken to him in 8 years. That's not a healthy family dynamic. The RFK thing is not the same. They're like, we don't agree with his decision to support Trump, and we question it and blah, blah, blah.
It's going against the family dynamic.
I understand that, but they're still speaking to him.
I'm only bringing that up.
Okay, well, I don't like your premise. I reject it. It's been roundly criticized, and your objection is overruled and withdrawn. So there. How you like that?
So David J said, if Pappas won't be fair, then he's just mainstream media. There you go. See, look, he got a supporter. Look at you.
Hey, David.
You got a supporter.
I am being fair. I'm saying his argument is specious at best, and I reject it. It's been round. I just dissected it.
And it's fair.
Hanging like a carcass in that closet right there, your argument.
And it's fair.
Yes.
But here, seeing that part and then hearing the RFK part, but Walz and the Kennedys are light years apart. Years apart. I just wanted to throw
and
that
RFK doesn't
see what you say.
Well, I mean, you're trying to piss me off, but RFK, and let me say this: RFK doesn't have a supposedly now well-documented history of being just an absolute liar. I mean, the guy's lied repeatedly. We went over it the last show. I'm not going to go over it again. The guy, for no reason, the guy just can't simply tell the truth. And I don't know what his problem is. He lied. You know what? I'll tell you something else. So there was another video released today, and he was making a speech, and he said, "When I was in Afghanistan, blah 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 blah." Right? Well, the problem is here's how he lies. He may not, although obviously his rank was a very clear lie. He knows that he was not that rank. He was overranking himself, but which upsets military people greatly.
A ton.
But so he wasn't a general. But the problem is he made a statement. He said, like, when I was standing on the tarmac in Afghanistan, blah blah blah. Well, he lies by inference. So a person hearing that would say, well, he was in the military and he said he was in Afghanistan, so he must have been serving in Afghanistan, and he lies by omission. So he lets you make the inference that he did something, or lets you make the inference that he was doing something or had done something, when clearly he wants you to make that jump and he expects you to make that jump. And that's why the guy's really deceitful.
Well, and he grabs, and Pappas does not listen to Drinking Bros. And I know some of the people in the chats listen to Drinking Bros. But Dan Holloway made the exact same statement, almost verbatim, in the fact that somebody that lies will give you just enough
for you to make the leap. Yeah.
So, like, when I was on a tarmac in Afghanistan and they're associating the fact that he was in the military,
Sure,
they assume it's military.
Sure. And the press doesn't ask him a follow-up question. They don't ask him to clarify. There's pieces of truth.
Yes.
There's threads of truth. And with that, here, I'm going to make it simple. There's threads of truth, but the whole cloth is a lie. So how can you have a cloth with lies in it?
And
even though the threads are, some of the threads are true.
The fact that what you just said, though, it's
that's a biblical verse somewhere.
It's ironic, though, because I listen to Drinking Bros almost every day, and Dan Holloway said almost verbatim what you said, in the fact that people grabbed onto things in the fact that, oh, he's military and he was in Afghanistan. Well, no, he was never in that capacity there.
No. And but he wants you to, yes.
But he knew,
yes,
that if he said just this and this, yeah, it's goddamn, it's verbatim. And I know you don't listen to him, so
I don't. But he must be. He's a great mind.
When you started, saying, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
You know, great minds think alike.
Well,
smart man,
maybe
deep insight, very deep.
I haven't hung out with him yet.
Oh,
I'm hoping to.
Well, I mean, we have a lot in common.
I might die if I hang out with him. Though. He does more drugs than anybody around.
Well, I will balance that out because I don't do anything. I don't even take aspirin. Did I tell you about my? Well, I'll finish it up. We'll finish the story. We'll finish the show with some good news.
Let's get some good news.
Well, I mean, what else did you want to tag on? We're running on right now about an hour, which is about a little over an hour.
We're an hour 8. Let's see.
We don't want to tax. We know that your listening time is precious, and we don't want to overstay our welcome.
We have to hit this one.
Okay, there we go. There we go. What are we talking about?
Well,
we had a outline.
Get ready to pay. Get ready to pay.
I don't want to pay.
Well, if she gets elected, you're going to pay.
Oh yeah. No.
Hold on.
Oh,
it's fucking up.
I'm gonna get Tourette's. I swear to God, I'm gonna start screaming.
Would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that
bill. That fucking giggle alone. Let me play it again just in case I miss it because I can't. I had 2 different videos.
But in the area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved, if you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that
bill. Who's ready? Who's ready? It's almost like Oprah. You get money. You get money. You get money.
I have so
now.
Much
granted, I will say that video is cut, so I don't know what was in between. Being fair,
no, we don't. We don't know exactly. We know that she would sign the bill, and we know that he.
But if you have Al Sharpton,
a bill of reparations,
if you have Al Sharpton,
so maybe we're making an inference now. Maybe we're.
I totally am. I totally fucking am, and I'm not paying.
But here's the deal. People, I've seen comments that say, "Oh, that can't happen. That'll never pass Congress." Don't kid yourself. If the Democrats win the House, it could happen, and they maintain control of the Senate. So you could see a bill of that nature sliding through. Because personally, I have a feeling that a lot of people in government, maybe on both parties, know that at some time soon we're going to have to pay the piper. So things are going to. At some point, we cannot continue on this economic path that we're on. We have to restore our fiscal sanity, or else our dollar is simply going to collapse. That's my personal opinion. So maybe what we're doing, or maybe what they're doing, is, you know what, we're just going to give away everything because it's going to fall apart anyway. So we might as well be in power and at least be popular and just give it all away. It's almost like when Rome was collapsing, what they were doing was, if you're a student of history, Rome had the circus, had the Colosseum to keep the mobs happy, because if they didn't, the mob would turn on the emperor and those running Rome. Well, it's almost like I'm not calling anyone a mob, so let's be clear here. But I'm saying that it's very similar to that mindset. We're not going to do anything that's fiscally responsible. We're not going to do the responsible, maybe long-term thing. I mean, bar the door. If that happens, country's toast. You might as well just go buy a ticket to wherever. Who knows?
Sell everything, get the fuck out.
Well, again, you sell everything, you're going to be, obviously you're going to be taxed out the wazoo, especially under this buffoon's plan. But you don't know who to vote for because you don't like Donald Trump. Okay, that makes great sense. It's a smart decision. I don't know, man. It's just we got a lot of problems. And I hope the country wakes up. And one way you can wake up is by getting involved, getting engaged. Don't sit at home. Don't say you don't matter. Don't say it makes no difference who I vote for. They both suck. That's not actually true. Your life can change.
Get out and do it.
Get out and get involved, get engaged, because I know that, if that happens, I mean, it's going to be bad. And your financial well-being will be severely at risk. There was a Dave Chappelle did a bit on that reparations thing. I thought that was funny. It's coming to mind. I do not want you to play it because it's very, very inappropriate. So
go check it out.
Go check it out on YouTube. But we are where we are. We have 30 days before the election. We have a lot of this weekend. I know that there's going to be which I've commented on this before. I don't want to poo-poo on it, but I know that there's an organized 275 loop cruise around 275 to show your support of Donald Trump. And if you do choose to do that, please be careful because traffic is not a thing to play with. But I will say this, don't just let it be that. If you want to support Donald Trump and the Republicans, please do so. But don't just put a bumper sticker or wear a T-shirt like this and think that you've done a lot of good.
Or wrap your car.
I didn't wrap my car. And just, you know what? Here's
almost wrapped.
Well, no, that other Cadillac I had was much more wrapped than this one. I had the hood. That one was tricked out. The thing was pimp. I will give you a very
Pappas say pimp. Just made my night.
Hey, look. I'll give you a very unscientific survey that I did I've traveled now. How many miles I traveled in the last 3 days? No, in the last week. I've traveled probably 1,600 miles. Easy. So it's almost 500 miles up. 500 miles. There's 1,000 there. I've done that twice. There's 2 bills. Plus Bowling Green to pick up a dog. We didn't even talk about the dog. I'll
post a picture.
Could you?
Yeah.
Because he's a really cute dog.
Put it on Instagram.
He is such a cute dog. And I'm
focus.
Yeah, what's squirrel? But my unscientific survey, I have not. I will be honest because I don't have. If I'm anything, I'm very upfront. I have not gotten one finger. I swear to God, I have not gotten flipped off. Not one time. I've not been cut off. I've not been flipped off. I've gotten a boatload of thumbs up from license plates from all over this great country. I have had truckers toot their horns at me. I took that as a positive, not lay on their horns. I just think
it's only because you were sitting at the rest stop. They're waiting for you.
Lot lizard. So I most people are like, what's that? I will tell you, I think, and I have noticed also, so we have some Trump signs that we passed out at our last Republican Club meeting, and the Trump store is on Beachmont.
So I'm still waiting for mine.
And, oh shit, I forgot to bring yours. Anyway, you'll get it. Cut your grass first, because it's not, I want to put it in a nice yard. But anyway,
fuck you.
Anyway, I'm messing with you. I think there's a real movement. I really do. I'm picking up on them. I remember 4 years ago, it was not this. What's the word I would use? I feel like there's really something happening this term. And I think that a lot more people that before sat on the fence and said, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to be political. because I have a whole thing I want to read on how politics affects you. And a lot of people say, the thing you hear and I hear, and maybe the guys in the firehouse say, well, politics doesn't affect me. Politics doesn't, and they always end it with politics doesn't affect me.
It's always the younger ones.
Right. The younger or people also that, just never have gotten involved for whatever reason. But I really am picking up on the beginnings of a movement here that is hopefully going to carry through November up to the election. And I do encourage, as I said before, everyone to vote early. Lock your vote in and get involved. I think I've seen so many people that weren't involved before that have volunteered this election cycle. And it's so refreshing to see so many conservatives, whether they're just fiscally conservative and socially liberal, or they're socially conservative and maybe fiscally ambivalent. Look it up. I think that there's really a movement going that people are going to get involved and get engaged this cycle, and we're going to see results and turnout like we haven't seen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Are you seeing any of that?
No, I am. I'm getting more questions from my younger guys at the firehouse asking the questions that should be asked. Where when I was 18, I wasn't asking those. We are definitely at a turning point. There is no doubt.
I think people have woken up and they understand that everything in their life is affected by politics. And if we ignore that, we should harness that and use that. Could you just keep putting it there, please? I think that if we acknowledge that and use that emotion and that energy and really get these folks involved in a way like 275, what I was saying was, hey man, show up, cruise, do what you want to do, paint a flag, put a flag on your car, whatever. But don't let it stop there.
Yeah. Make sure you're engaging somebody else and be there on November 5th.
Make sure that, vote early.
Or vote early.
Vote early. I tell you I'm not, as God is my witness, I know I'm going to get another phone call this year from somebody that said, and I got it last year, and I've almost gotten it every election cycle for some reason. They know that I kind of know a little bit, and they say, oh my God, Bill's in the hospital and we were going to vote today. And he's, we forgot that he had to have his blah removed and, or he had an emergency blah and he's in the hospital, but he wants to vote. Man, you don't want that to happen.
No. And all right. So I said, be there November 5th.
I know you did.
Just vote.
Vote.
Make sure you
Unlike the people on the space station that are stuck there again because Boeing,
which was another story.
We wanted to cover. I mean, apparently now the Boeing thing is making like weird noises. So like let's just say for example, they're like, okay, Boeing calls you up, like you're on the space station. They're like, look, Bill, we really don't want to send this thing home empty. There's $10 million in it if you just get in the damn spaceship and bring it down. Are you taking that bet?
No.
Are you taking that money?
No.
Like, no, I'm waiting for Musk. Send up the Tesla.
So I asked Zoe, Jill's 12-year-old daughter, today, because I was watching a video with the weird noises and they radio down. Hey, we're hearing a weird noise.
Is this normal? Should this be happening?
So they're like, go ahead and send that. And it was like, bang, 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 bang. And they're like, recording received. We'll get back with it. So I shared that with Zoe. I was like, can you imagine?
No.
You going up June 5th?
No.
To be there for a week?
No.
And now you're not getting home until February of 25 when everybody who hates Elon Musk is going to come save these motherfuckers.
And they have to send it. So Musk's capsule, I believe the Dragon holds 5 or 4.
Zoe's fucking comment was, absolutely not. And if she could have said absolutely fucking not, she would have.
But I mean, these poor guys are up there. I mean, dude, how are they? I mean, they're
scaring the fuck out of me.
Oh, but I mean, I'm sure Boeing's like, look, it's perfectly safe. Don't worry about it. Get in it. It's fine. It's a Fletcher valve. It's all ball bearings. And now, all right. And so not only that, apparently from what I've read, they have to send up Musk's spacesuits too, because like the NASA ones are too bulky
Yeah, it won't
to
work.
fit in the seats. Because like the Musk one's like a race car. It's like pretty cool, and it's like small, like the seats are Recaros, and the other one's got like bench, the old bench vinyl seats from your dad's Chevy,
like a Buick, a fucking old Buick.
So these people are they have to.
But here's the thing. Also, Musk wasn't planning to have to fucking rescue
No,
somebody.
they have to.
You guys were doing your thing. We're doing our thing.
Right.
Oh, now you need
me.
But now social media hates me. The government hates me.
Yeah, but who are they turning to?
And now you need me.
A private company that is true. I'm sure that Musk has been the recipient of a lot of government funding. Don't get me wrong. I'm not naive.
Right.
However, at the end of the day, Boeing, like I said, I don't know why we developed the Star. I've mentioned on the other show, I don't know why we developed the Star. I don't know why we used tax dollars to pay Boeing to develop the Starliner when we had a proven product that was working. It's fairly reliable. It hasn't had these problems. They've worked out the bugs, but we're going to start over from scratch just so that we can have NASA's name on it instead of SpaceX. Makes no sense.
No, makes no sense.
But this is your government at work.
Andrew,
same government.
I'm going to ask you hot on the air.
What's that?
Are you available Wednesday at 5?
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday.
No, I told you I can't do it this
I
Wednesday.
can't do it
I told you this. You're not listening.
Yeah, I didn't.
So this Wednesday, let me tell you what I'm doing this Wednesday. I'm glad you asked. Actually, we did not. This is unrehearsed because I didn't know you were asking. I'm taking my good friend Frank Wettenkamp to an event at the barn over on the other side of town. And we're doing a political event, and Frank wants to. They were looking for a veteran. They call me a
veteran. That's your veteran buddy.
That's my veteran buddy.
Yes,
97 years old. You know what we should do?
We should have him on.
We should have Frank on. We should
I
have
agree.
Frank on. Have some soft food. I tell him when we go out, like, hey Frank, you want me to chew that burger first?
My
You should
God.
see. You should hear what he says. Frank's got an attitude, and he's awesome. But I'm going to take Frank over to the barn, and we're going to be there for a political. He's going to say some words. It's not purely political, but they were seeking a veteran, and they reached out to me because they know that I'm buddies with him, and I'm like his driver ish.
I know that's your guy. I know
Yeah,
that's your
Frank's a
dude.
great guy, and we're trying to. This is a secret, so since Frank doesn't watch the show, I'll break it here. We're trying to raise. We have a group of people that want to take Frank back to the World War II Museum in like October, November, down in New Orleans, because he enjoyed it so much. Sadly, of the 40 veterans that we took down there with Gary Sinise's foundation, through my good friend Todd Mayer, organized it, and it was a wonderful, with a lot of great West Side guys. There's just I think Frank's like one of the very few that can actually still travel. And that trip was like 5 years ago, and it was life-changing. It
Holy
was a
shit.
great trip. Yeah. So we're going to try to yank Frank and go down there, and he wants to do it. He's willing to do it. And we're going to try to arrange that trip in October, November.
Any help you need from me, I will.
I don't know how,
help.
we haven't put the numbers together yet, but I think that with
anybody that's listening,
well, I think with the people, and I appreciate that, but I think
anybody that's listening, though, get with me if you want to help.
There's a
support
lot of
this trip. I think it'd be huge.
Well, there's a lot of great charities out there, but this is something I think we're going to get the people and there's probably 4 or 5 folks that have expressed interest in going, and we're just going to charge everybody a little extra and then cover. Frank's not going to pay for anything, and we're just going to reach out to maybe a hotel and see if they'll comp his room down there. I know that the museum will be tickled to death. The great people run that museum, and I would suggest if anyone, look, New Orleans is a wonderful city for like a little bit of time because it has its issues a little bit.
New Orleans is awesome.
Nolans, but the food is fantastic. It's a great place to visit in the fall and spring, because it's not just brutally hot. And the people that run that museum down there, it is, if you have a chance to go to the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, I would go.
I've been there, and it is absolutely awesome.
It's awesome. You know why it's so awesome? Do you know the secret to it? You don't know this. So it was private. It was developed privately.
Okay, yeah, government.
And then after it was already set up and planned and laid out, and a lot of the artifacts were acquired, it was then Congress then designated it the national one, which then qualified for more funds. Don't misunderstand me, but initially it was a private museum, and it is a amazing place. If you're into that stuff, we're hoping to go see the PT boat Sudden Jerk is on display there, and it was restored. It was in Lake Pontchartrain, but last time 6 years ago when we were there, we could not go on it. We're going to try to hopefully see it on the static display. It's one of the few restored PT boats that are still around. What else?
David J asked if you manscaped. Because that's
I don't know what that means.
Because that's how we used to end it with Dan. Rob would be like, Dan, do you manscape?
I mean, the answer is probably no. So,
well, you're Greek.
I mean, it would be never ending. It's like, you know, time to make the donuts.
You'd run out of razors.
I mean, it'd be a razor commercial. If we get a sponsor, if we get like Jeremy's Razors or one of the razor companies as sponsor, I mean, you've got a pretty thick beard there. I mean, you don't have trouble growing a beard.
Yeah, but that manscape.
That's disgusting.
Guys, we'll get back with you. We'll figure out when our next show is going to be.
Somebody bring me a bucket.
Wednesday's not going to work.
No, Wednesday's not going to work, but we're going to try to.
Because I did not listen to him. He told me that.
I told him 3 times, but we're going to try to get on a regular-ish schedule now that summer travel is winding down. I hope everyone had a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and now is the beginning. This actually really does mark the beginning of the political season. Now it gets really serious.
Yeah, we're rubber meets the road.
So get involved. Oh, can I mention one thing really quick?
Hurry the fuck up.
We had our meeting last Tuesday. We had our local GOP meeting, and we had over 100 people there. And it was
pictures were amazing.
Yes, I wasn't in any of them. And that's
why they were amazing.
That's exactly why they were amazing. But we had over 100 people turn out, and I do know that the Sons are going to host a debate watch party at the Post 318.
Yep.
And we're going to join
if
them.
She shows up.
If there's a debate is right. But we are going to, the local Republican club has been offered an invitation to join that event. So stand by, and I'd like everybody that wants to come, because it was a great time last time. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I remember I went Facebook Live on that one. Maybe we should do
we could podcast.
We could podcast from the debate. What do you think?
I just got to make sure I'm all for it.
See, this is how the magic happens, folks. So anyway, everyone be safe. And I appreciate you listening. What do we do? Say like. Do we have a spot to do, or are we spotless?
Yeah, we'll go spotless today. But like, subscribe, download, tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your neighbors. Make sure you get out and vote. And we will catch you on the next one.